So welcome to the April 25th, 2022 meeting of the Water Commissioners. In keeping with an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency as amended by Governor Baker on February 12th, 2022, this meeting will be conducted remotely over Zoom. Attendance by board and commission members will be remote, and remote attendance shall count towards the quorum. The meeting will be broadcast live and recorded on Easton Community Access Television, which is Comcast 98, Verizon 23, and on ECAT's website, www.eastoncat.org. This meeting is closed captioned for the hearing impaired. If you're watching at home on your computer, you'll see a CC button in the lower toolbar at the bottom of your screen. If you're watching at home and you have a comment or a question, you can email the board at any time, selectboard@easton.ma.us. And if you're watching from an electronic device, please pose your question from the Q&A feature of the Zoom portal. Please remember to include your name and street address for our minutes. And at this time, I'd like to ask each water commissioner to state their name to ensure we have a quorum.
Craig Barger.
Mark Lamb.
Jennifer Stacy.
And Dottie Fulgenetti. Okay, so the first item that we have is discussion and vote for a declaration of state of water supply conservation phase 3. And we have the Water Division Operations Manager, Rich Tierney, here with us to guide us through this. Welcome, Rich.
Yes, good evening all. I first want to thank you all for extending your agenda to take up this motion. I'm requesting your consideration and vote for a phase 3 state of water supply conservation, which will run from May 1st, 2022 through November 1st, 22. We're requesting a phase 3 water restriction to reduce the overall burden on our sources while several construction projects impact our wells. First is the PFAS filtration and other water improvements out at Red Mill Road. Water main improvements in that vicinity will also impact those wells during the summer months. So the PFAS will directly affect stations 1, 2, and 4. And those 3 sources are our highest capacity wells. And so losing them during the summer months, we already know that we're going to be behind the 8 ball, so to speak, on the supply side. So the summer demands will just further impact our supplies. So these are the heavy weighting pieces that I'm asking you to consider in regards of going to a phase 3 water restriction.
Okay, I'm going to go around to all the board members, starting with Craig, and I'm going to invite you to share your comments and questions. Craig?
We went through this last year, so I know exactly what Rich is doing and why he's doing it, and I don't have any questions at this point.
Okay, Mark?
No questions. I completely understand. I do hope that on like the Facebook page, the explanation of this will be pushed out on the town page, because the only thing is people say, well, why are we going into phase 3 right away? So if we could just put something out there, that would be great.
Absolutely.
Jamie?
Sorry for the late arrival, but I had read prior to and understand as well. So thank you.
You're welcome.
And Jen?
And there are no changes between this phase 3 and phase 3 as defined last year, correct?
Correct.
In terms of, okay.
Yes.
So I just want to get to, so the phase 3 restrictions allow residents for even numbered addresses will be restricted to allowing lawn watering only on Monday between the hours of 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Odd numbered addresses will be restricted to allow lawn watering only on Tuesday between the hours of 5 a.m. and 8 a.m. And handheld hoses will be allowed. So I guess a question that always comes up that I want to let the people at home know is, there are a lot of businesses and a lot of homes that will still continue to water, and we don't catch all of them or know about all of them. I know that you do send warnings out when you do see it or get a report of it.
Yes.
But is there a way to let, like, I'm going to call out I'm not going to say the particular business, but there's a particular business I have in mind that I drive by all the time, that their sprinklers are on rain or shine. Is there a way that, you know, how can we let the water department know about that? Because it's really hard if you're doing your part and you see that other people aren't. It can be a little bit frustrating. Yet we know that there's a bandwidth challenge with our departments. You can't be everywhere all the time between 5 and 8, right? So
Yep.
how can we take care of that?
So just like last year, I think, you know, getting out our message early, but you're absolutely right, Dottie, in that some folks are going to try to circumnavigate around the process. So in years past, you know, I deputize my workforce and we go out there in the early morning hours to identify these. And we do have residents who are calling in on their neighbors. So those aspects, you know, we utilize. And if we go out there and take pictures of the activity, that's what I kind of encourage my staff so that we have some documentation on it. There are many properties that have private wells on their property. So we have them in GIS. We have a lot of them identified. So, you know, we can't cite them as violators, but we do try to ask them to mimic our restrictions. But those are, I know I'm not answering your question directly, but those are the things that we do. And we do give out violation notices. I haven't gotten to the point where we found anyone to be in violation a second time.
Well, I think one of the things that this board has shown is that we try not to be punitive to businesses or people that live in the community. We hope that these things happen because people didn't know, or there's a lack of education, or you had your sprinkler timer set on the wrong day, like what happened to me a few years back. And we got the warning notice on our front door. And I fully blamed my husband for not knowing what days they were, but I never told him. So I know that that does happen to people. And, you know, I think that the approach of trying to just get it out there everywhere we can to let people know is a good start. So by using all of our social media resources and town crier and so forth. And hopefully we have a big audience watching this commissioners meeting and people will see it from there. And I think that's
Patty, can I just ask a question of Rich?
Sure.
You said there were a number of people that have private wells in the town, right, Rich? But isn't the water source the same for our wells as it is for their wells?
There are different aquifers within Easton here, but essentially, yes, you know, they're all pulling water from the same water source or groundwater source. But you know, you got Queesit, you got sorry, my mind is moving in a lot of different directions here, but you have 3 different unique aquifers here, but essentially you're pulling from all those aquifer sources here.
I think an important point for anyone watching, though, and to answer that as well, Craig, is that it's also a jurisdictional and regulatory issue, right? So the Water Commission is responsible for the water infrastructure of Easton, and it's one thing, and I haven't gone back and checked the bylaws, I certainly can, but to stipulate how the public will use water flowing from our infrastructure. But a private well is not necessarily regulated by those bylaws. That doesn't mean you couldn't. I don't know that off the top of my head, but I think that it's you are correct from a groundwater perspective, but there's also obviously the jurisdictional question as well.
Thank you.
So the Commonwealth of Mass, their website, mass.gov/conserve-ma-water has really good toolkits on there for municipalities and for consumers about conservation for water. And I think it's really important in a town like ours, especially when we do have droughts more often than not. At some point, I feel like we're just getting out ahead of this a little bit. And, you know, Jen, you are somebody who knows a lot about this, what the impact is to our trees. We're going to be having an Arbor Day Proclamation coming up on the select board, and it just made me think of how connected those are. If we don't get enough water in the roots of our trees, they become loose. And then when we have a windstorm, they come down and, or they become diseased. So being proactive with water conservation, I think is really important. And
You nailed it on the head, Dottie. It's so critical. And every time the wind here whips up, I think about how much that is changing every year. So you nailed it.
excellent. So I appreciate you bringing this forward and being proactive with it, Rich. You know, and if there's no other questions, Craig, if you would like to read the motion.
I move to declare a phase 3 state of water supply conservation from May 1st, 2020 to November 1st, 2022. I'm sorry. Water supply conservation from May 1st, 2022 to November 1st, 2022.
Second, Lamb.
Bodger and Lamb,
Barger, yes.
Lamb, yes.
Stebbins, yes.
Stacy, yes.
and Fultonetti, yes. So thanks for being here tonight, Rich. And we appreciate the information.
All right, thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Rich.
Thanks, Rich.
Thank you.
Good.
So the next thing we have is minutes, our general minutes dated April 26th, 2021. If somebody would like to move to accept those minutes.
So moved, Barger.
Second, Lamb.
Bodger and Lamb,
Barger, yes.
Lamb, yes.
Stebbins, yes.
Stacy, yes.
and Fultonetti, yes. So if there's no other business, Connor, did you have anything?
Not from a water commission meeting, no. Thank you.
Okay. Then with that said, we'll take a motion to adjourn, and it should be noted that we are staying on this Zoom call, and then we'll reopen the select board meeting.
So moved, Barger.
Second, Lamb.
Bodger and Lamb,
Barger, yes.
Lamb, yes.
Stebbins, yes.
Stacy, yes.
and Fultonetti, yes. Okay,